Hi, Louise. My name is Jackie. I've been following your work for almost 30 years, and I'm really grateful to have at last the opportunity to meet you.
Okay.
So thank you
She's
for
a
that.
long-time student. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I come from a culture that maybe many of us do that emphasize, that take pride in how difficult things are and in complaining. And I'd like to dissolve that, but maybe you could talk a little bit more about how to let go of that or dissolve the emphasis on things being difficult.
Are you saying you're supposed to suffer?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that was somebody's opinion. You know, a lot of the things we believe are not true, just are not true at all. But we pick them up from what we thought was an authority figure when we were little, and we say, oh, yes, yes, that must be true. But you have to examine your stuff as an adult. Is that really true, what you believe? Or is it only true because you've chosen to believe it? And especially if it's a negative message. So, you know, you can say, all right, this is what I was raised to believe, and it doesn't make me feel good. Now, is this really true? Do I have to continue to believe it? Or if not, what would be the other end? And how would you answer that, Cheryl? Because you're good, too.
I would say, you know, what comes to mind for me is if we look at the history of humanity, and let's just go back a few hundred years, there was a time where the reason men and women had children was to have more bodies to work in the field, okay? There wasn't a lot of conversation about inner child or loving oneself. It was pretty much, you have a child, you raise them, you put them out in the field, and the family works together to survive, really, right? As time has gone on, we've become more and more psychologically and spiritually aware. We're evolving. I think, I do believe in, you know, the sort of Indian circle, and we're on this path. And so we're always evolving. So now, if we look at the current generation, or generations, let's say, we're the ones that are becoming psychologically aware, have been for a while, are growing and evolving spiritually. But if you go back, you realize that the belief that life was hard was because it was physically really hard, right? Those beliefs, what got updated was the way we operate in the world. We had technology, but often what isn't updated is our inner operating system, the beliefs that were aligned with how life used to be. That's why in some ways today, those of us in this room are such spiritual pioneers, because what we're saying is we're no longer willing to buy into the beliefs that belong to another era. They don't belong to us today. But spiritual pioneers often come face to face with resistance because we're breaking up the old to welcome in the new. And the greatest resistance we have is within our own hearts and minds based on the beliefs we were raised with. I was raised, for example, with a very strong belief that you have to work hard to be successful. My father worked 3 jobs. I mean, he practically worked around the clock to put food on the table. He worked very, very hard. And so I really believed that. And then one day I remember listening to an audio tape from a teacher who said, well, you could choose to believe that life is easy. It was a radical thought for me. Choose to believe, because you know, in my head was absolutely not. If it's easy, it's not valuable. If it's easy, it's not attainable. If it's easy, it's superficial. But I began to really change that with my thinking. Life, I work smart, not hard. Life is
That's
easy.
a good affirmation.
Yes, I work smart,
not hard.
I allow life to be easy. And what we're doing is, you see, not only are you updating the inner operating system called you, but we're also together contributing to updating humanity and the way we operate on the planet. Because, you know, at our highest level, we are powerful spiritual beings who I personally believe at some point on the planet will instantly be able to create with our thought. It's a really good thing we don't do that now, by the way, because if you think about most of the thoughts we have each day, it wouldn't be pretty if we were creating instantly, would it? Right? So it is your birthright, and I think your responsibility, to say, it worked for them then, but it no longer works for me in the world the way it is today. And I will consciously work at affirming, I allow life to be easy. I'm willing to learn how to allow life to be easy, maybe as a beginning step.
And is there a way I can dissolve these beliefs or dissolve these?
You know, there was an old spiritual teacher who said to me, if you think of a teacup, many of us, if you think of the mind as a teacup, many of us attempt to take out all the negativity.
Right.
But if you fill that teacup with positivity, eventually the negativity overflows and all you have left is positivity. So all you need to do is focus on what you want. That's what Louise is talking about. I want life to be easy. I allow life to be... You just flood yourself with that positivity and all that old stuff will take care of itself.
And you can even do, you know, I love my parents. You can do the affirmation, I love my parents, but I'm not limited by their belief system.
Yes. And if my father were here on this stage with you right now, because he's still alive, and follows my work, he would stand next to me and he would say, listen to her. Because my life would have been a lot easier if I had listened to her. My mother said that when she read my first book. She called me up in tears and she said to me, my God, I wish I had had a book like this when I was in my early 20s.
Sure.
And oh, I'll
Nice.
tell
But
you.
our mothers didn't have that.
They didn't.
They didn't. They grew up under different belief systems and
Yes.
under society rules.
Yes.
You know, and I think a lot of them are jealous at where we are now.
And it's scary
they
to
never
make those
had the
changes,
chance.
Well, it can be, well, but that's an affirmation.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. She said it's scary to make these changes. I don't want to in any way discount your feelings because I think feelings are very important and we're not saying think your way out of the negative feelings. Embrace those feelings, but tell that little girl inside of you who's afraid to live by different rules, it's safe to be here. I'll stand by you while you change the rules of the game. I know you're feeling frightened right now, but I love you, and I'll protect you. And together, you and I are going to change the way we operate in the world, which will influence many people around us. All right?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.